Hey there, career seekers. Welcome to Find Your Passion Career. I'm here to help you find a career you like, and dare I say, possibly even love. I'm your host, Amanda Nachman. I'm the founder and CEO of College Magazine. After working with thousands of college students, I've noticed that when it comes to career, there's a lot to demystify. Let's get started. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Find Your Passion Career. Today I have with me Jules Montgomery. She's the creator of Matches Media. She's scaled multiple businesses through social media strategy and grew her TikTok channel to over 200,000 followers in 2 months. That's actually how we found each other. This entrepreneur and social media expert is a recent grad from University of Michigan. Welcome to the podcast, Jules.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, well, okay, so I've heard the story of how you made this incredible pivot since your college education. You started out in nursing. So, I'm reading this bio here that has nothing to do with the medical industry. Talk to me about, that moment of realization that this wasn't what you were going to pursue.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I initially came to University of Michigan to play golf, and I was not sure at all what I wanted to study. I had an older cousin that I really admired who was a nurse anesthetist, and I was like, she has a cool job. She's really independent. Maybe that's the path for me. So applied to the nursing program and was accepted. Once I got started with nursing, I think it was probably a year or two in when I realized maybe this wasn't the perfect fit for me. But at that point, I just wanted to graduate on time. So I finished the program. Senior year, I felt a little bit panicked about applying to nursing positions. None of them really excited me. I ended up applying to a couple of post-bac pre-med programs, thinking that maybe med school was my route. I thought maybe the medical field was still a fit. I just needed a different position within it. So ended up getting into a post-bac pre-med program. I held a seat at Columbia and went and visited, met with an academic advisor, financial aid, and realized that I was going to graduate at 33 years old with about $800,000 in student loan debt. Um, that is what it very quickly turned me off to that idea. I accepted a position in the cardiovascular surgical ICU at Cleveland Clinic. Worked there for about a year and a half. Toward the end of my time there, I was applying to CRNA school. I had some interviews, couple that got me really excited. One was for Boston College, and I ended up being told that I needed more ICU experience before I could go to the grad program. And with that, I was just like, I can't do another year in the hospital. I can't do it. I started an e-commerce business on the side. It was kind of out of nowhere. I got really addicted to the How I Built This podcast. And I heard Sarah Blakely's episode where she was just like, this is not my movie. She was selling fax machines. She felt like she was trapped in the wrong life. And I was like, I feel trapped in the wrong life too. I need a business. So started my e-commerce business, scaled it to 6 figures in about 3 months, and quit my job. And I've never looked back. From there, I started managing social media accounts for other people. And finally, this January, I started sharing social media tips on TikTok after watching a Gary Vee video where he advised that everyone could grow on social media, especially on TikTok, if they were willing to post enough. So I immediately started posting 3 times a day after watching that video. And
You're like, challenge accepted.
Yeah. Exactly. And grew really, really quickly. He was right.
Yeah, well, he really was right. And the fact that you stuck with it goes to show it pays off. Well, when I hear this story, and maybe listeners are thinking this too, it's like, wow, that's like a crazy shift. And, it sounds like you're able to condense it into this soundbite right now on the podcast. But when you're in those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in this, internship or in this role and going through the motions of this job and I'm dreading it. I don't like it. This doesn't align with my passion. It doesn't get me fired up. And here I am, you know, finding this extra time on the side to start an e-commerce business. What did that feel like to realize that you've taken this one path and it maybe wasn't the path for you?
Yeah, that was really scary. And working that job that really just did not excite me. I actually, yeah, I dreaded going into work every day. I was working mostly night shift. My sleep schedule was really off. And I remember that my family came to visit me one weekend and they were like, you need to quit this job immediately. Like, you just don't look good. Your apartment's a mess.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
we've never, yeah, I was really struggling. And I did end up after that quitting pretty quickly and coming home. And that was terrifying. I felt like I remember having a conversation with my family being my life has been all downhill since the beginning of University of Michigan. I I was like, how did I get to this? Like, I felt like I always excelled in school. Like, I thought I had such a bright future. And then I ended up just hating my job and feeling like, I don't know, I thought that my story was not going to end well at that point. Um, yeah, but I'm super grateful that the e-commerce business took off the way that it did, and that I learned how excited business made me. And yeah, happy to report that just last week, my dad was like, "I have never seen you so happy. You need to always be building businesses."
Oh, that's such a good feeling. Yeah, when we don't like what we do for work, and that's a lot of our time, it starts to seep over into other parts of our lives. And,
Mm.
if you can't see it, someone else, who loves you is going to see it. And it's good that you were able to have that supportive family saying, you need to get out and do something different. And
Yeah, absolutely.
and there are chapters of our lives where we feel completely lost or a total failure, but you keep going. You keep moving forward. That's what you did. And who knows where that's going to take you next. And it's just believing in yourself. Like how did you know? How did you believe in yourself that you could do this e-commerce business?
I did not. I remember I had this journal and I had listened to all these episodes of how I built this, and I listened to an episode of Barbara Corcoran's podcast, and she was like, some people are great in business and others just aren't meant to be entrepreneurs. It's just, can you sell? And I was like, I don't know, can I? And I wrote down in this journal, I was like, all right, my goal this year is just to make one sale. I want to prove to myself that I can like sell something valuable to a stranger. And I think it was like a month after that that I like to the day that I hit 10 grand in sales with my business. I was like, I can sell. And from there, I was like, okay, I can do business, I think.
Yeah, I'd like that you set yourself up with this like one small goal and you wanted to prove something to yourself.
Mhm.
And you had this inkling, obviously, that this is what you wanted to do. That's why you set this goal. Well, tell us a little bit about the e-commerce business that you built.
Yeah, so it was an apparel business, and it really took off. It started out with different types of sweatshirts, stuff that was pretty easy for me to design and produce in small quantities. And then I started seeing a pattern where people were showing up on social media in the tie-dye sweat sets. Um, and as soon
Gotta
as I
love the
saw
tie
people,
dye. Gotta love the tie
yeah,
dye.
the official pattern of 2020. Um, I just saw that all of the big TikTok influencers were wearing it. And I was like, okay, I need to buy a set of this. I was actually going to buy a set of it for myself. And every single place that I looked was sold out. There were only really a couple places making it. And they had just comment sections on Instagram filled with people asking when their next restock was going to be. So I was like, well, I wonder if I could make this myself. How are they making this? They all said that they were hand dyeing it. So I looked for wholesale suppliers and I found a bunch of white sweats and ordered those, ordered RIT dye, watched YouTube videos on how to tie dye, and then employed my sister to help me.
That's
And
my favorite part, where you employ your sister, right? Like, this brings me back to the moment where I remember in like elementary school making clay outfits for my trolls because they came naked, and I was like, where are the outfits? And I brought my friends in on this. And it was like, these are the moments where you find yourself being entrepreneurial just because you're like, we need more people. We need more hands on deck.
Yeah, and my sister was super enthusiastic at first because this kind of aligned well with when quarantine was just starting. Um, and so she had a bunch of extra free time on her hands. People were desperately purchasing all of the sweatpants that they could find for work from home. And it just really aligned well with what we were supplying. So I started paying her pretty decent amount of money to hand dye this stuff. And after a while, she was like, okay, I don't even know if this is worth the money. It's such hard work. We ended up working with a lot of influencers, and this is kind of where I learned a lot about how influencer marketing worked and how powerful it was. Um, but we collaborated with one person who was initially just supposed to post on Instagram, and she ended up making a TikTok video for us as well. And her TikTok went viral, and she did 10 grand in sales of purple tie-dye sweats with that one video. And my sister was like, I never want to see purple again.
And I'm sure her hands were purple for like probably weeks.
Very, yes.
This is such a fun story. And, it's kind of like you're figuring it out as you go. You're not really asking yourself, can I make this? You're hopping on YouTube, you're making these tie-dye sweatpants, and then you're delegating it to your
Yeah.
sister.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is one of my favorite lessons that business has taught me is just kind of you don't need to know how to do something. You just need to decide to do it and be really, really committed to learning along the way. Everything is figure outable. I think that's a book title.
It is. Yeah. Marie Forleo's book. Yep. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
I love that because it's so true. No matter how disastrous something seems, there is a solution if you're committed to finding it. And I feel like businesses don't fail, entrepreneurs do. But that's okay because every single time that something really catastrophic has happened, to me within business, it's been an incredible learning experience, and nothing has been life ending so far.
I think it takes people most of their careers to realize that, because so many of us feel, that we're not qualified to go after what we want. That's the message of my book, Qualified, right? That I hear this all the time from especially graduates who have so much value to offer, so many experiences to offer. Were there moments where you did wonder if you were qualified to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like if you're willing to commit all of yourself to learning something and succeeding at it, you're qualified.
Yeah. All right. I'm adding this to another meaning of qualified. And I think that that is so beautiful and really true. And people are drawn to that. They're drawn to your decision to take action and decide that you're qualified. And so, okay, you recently also shared another story, and I want you to share it with our listeners because it's basically what I talk about in my book, which is what I call the upside job application, where you're doing something so impressive that you're passionate about. It draws people to you, and doors start to open to opportunities. So tell me about this opportunity that basically just fell in your lap that totally shocked you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, right before I started posting on TikTok, I had seen a Gary Vee video where he talked about how anyone who was willing to learn and committed could grow on social media, and that is kind of what motivated me to start sharing my social media tips on TikTok. I received an email from the CEO of Gallery Media Group, which is an arm of Gary's business. And he just reached out casually, said that he just reached out casually, said that he found me on TikTok and asked if I would be interested in connecting. Of course, I was interested in connecting. I really admire Gary Vee and everyone who is involved in his business. So I, of course, said yes. We set up an appointment to meet, and we just had a casual conversation kind of about TikTok, influencer marketing, what I was doing. And then halfway through the conversation, he goes, "Well, I got to admit, I kind of reached out selfishly. Like, we were looking for someone to be our director. We were looking for someone to be our director of influencer marketing." And I was like, "Oh, that's so interesting. That's crazy. I can't believe you found me on TikTok and thought, oh, she would be good for that job."
So all the
It's
time that you hear parents maybe, or you think that like parents are judging or society is judging us for creating content on TikTok, like what are you doing with your time there? Right here, right now, we have a tangible example of what that does.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another Gary Vee video I saw. He was like, I think there's just this misconception that social media and TikTok, especially the new platforms, are like child's play. And they are real platforms for doing business, for making sales, for making connections. And my TikTok has definitely proven that true to me.
And it's no child's play in making those videos. If you've ever tried to make a TikTok video, you know how much effort it takes to make something that's good.
Absolutely. It is a lot of work.
I mean, there's even like a jokes like audio clip that's like TikTok is a full-time job, but then you're kind of like, yeah, it does take a lot of time.
It really does. If you want to do it well, it takes a ton of time and effort.
And I think that's the case in any platform, anything you want to pursue. If you want to do it well, it's going to take
Yeah,
real intention.
absolutely. And I think that a lot of people, from a societal standpoint, look at influencers as having these cushy jobs and no responsibilities. And they're so lucky, they make so much money just posting pictures on the internet. And I don't think that they realize the behind the scenes. All of the creators that I've had the opportunity to meet and work with are extremely motivated and entrepreneurial and really awesome.
Yeah. Well, okay. Paint a picture behind the scenes. Like tell our listeners like what it takes, because somebody who's listening might be like, I am really passionate about this subject and I do want to share my passion, and TikTok might be the platform for me. What inspired you to start your TikTok channel, and how did you make it happen and sustain it? Because you do have to post every day and it is a lot of
Mhm.
work.
Yeah, definitely. I started posting on TikTok because I felt that it would be a great place to grow my business. I was doing social media management and marketing. So I felt what better place to connect with people than on social media. And I also just wanted to prove that I could do what I was advising others to do. Um, I didn't want to be giving all of this advice and not really understand what I was advising from a creator standpoint. So that's a big reason that I started sharing. Um, I was extremely committed to succeeding. I treated my account almost like an experiment, and I tried to interpret the video performance as objectively as possible. And I think that that is the biggest factor in my success, is that I really detached myself from the feedback that I got in the form of views. Your audience is going to tell you what they want to see from you, and they're going to help you create content that's going to succeed on TikTok. They'll help you grow if you listen. So I actually ended up creating a spreadsheet. I had a week of low performance on TikTok and I was mad about it. So
But I
I
like that you didn't take it personally, because when you are
Mhm.
creating something with your face as, the being on the front lines, it's tempting to take that personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the beginning I did a little bit, and then I was like, you know what? This is just, I need to learn how the algorithm works and work with the algorithm instead of being mad at the algorithm or mad at people for not liking this video enough. Um, I also had another creator friend tell me, if you go to someone else's profile on TikTok and you choose your favorite videos, the ones you find most entertaining, without looking at the view count, and then you go look at the view count, almost always you like the best performing videos. And so the views tell you what your best content is. They tell you what your best work is. So I made this spreadsheet where I track all of these qualitative metrics from my videos. I track the verbiage that I use in my intros. I track the pace of my videos, the format of delivery. Did I give a numbered list? Was it a single take video or a video with a bunch of jump cuts? And I found out what really performed the best. And this varies niche to niche, but there are a lot of commonalities among high performing content across the board.
Okay, you're gonna
Um,
tell us your secrets? We're all kind of like leaning in.
yes, I'll give you my top secrets.
Okay.
My secret to intros is using the word you in the first sentence of the video and either leading with value or addressing a pain point. Summing that up really quickly is the best way to grab people's attention and get them to stop scrolling. Um, Keeping your videos fast paced, getting rid of all of the dead space is a huge factor in performance. I actually suggest that people do videos in multiple short clips as opposed to single takes and try to make each clip uh, only one sentence long. That's really how much people are willing to listen to before they scroll. And that's pretty much it. Just refine your content from there, figure out what topics people like hearing from you. For me, in the beginning, I was sharing a mix of social media content, a little bit of business entrepreneurship content, and people consistently interacted the most with my social media content. So that's what I continued making.
You went all in on that vertical. Well, and it's a completely different, mindset creating a TikTok, right? It's such short form content. It's meant to be entertaining. And you realized, okay, people are attracted to this like fast paced, really quick jumps, videos. And if you watch Jules' videos on TikTok, you'll see she is delivering on exactly what she learned. How do you hype yourself up to make a video? Because you can't just go on and be like, yep, I'm going to make a video right now. Otherwise, you're going to start talking at the pace we're talking here on this podcast, which
Mhm.
no matter how energized I get on this podcast, like it's never going to be as fast as one of your TikToks, right? I've seen them.
Yeah, absolutely. In the beginning, I didn't pay as much attention to that, and that was actually one of the things I tracked was my energy and tone in the videos. And my highest energy videos with where I was the most animated performed the best consistently. So I actually, before I film, will like listen to upbeat music, look at my video ideas, get really excited about how I'm going to deliver that. Maybe I watch a few TikToks and I see what's on my For You page, and I really draw inspiration from those videos that are most engaging to me. Um, because really, if you view your own videos objectively, you can see what would and would not make you stop scrolling if you came across your own video on your For You page. So, yeah, I do hype myself up before I film.
Yeah, if you're watching your own video and you're kind of like, yeah, I could swipe at this point, like scroll to somebody new,
Hmm.
that your listener, your viewer is doing the exact same thing.
Exactly. If it's really painful for me to watch through just to edit, it's going to be painful for someone else to watch.
How do you feel that your career path has, you're really still very early on in your career. How do you feel like this has challenged our current beliefs around careers? Because you were probably carrying with you those current beliefs. I mean, as you were navigating college and after college, how do you feel like what you're doing is challenging that?
Absolutely. I definitely overvalued traditional education and undervalued experience. When I was younger, I think I had this idea that if I got into a good school and I got good grades, then I would graduate and make a ton of money and love my job. And I think that I've just learned that there are so many different paths to success. And I think I really only held a few career paths in high regard before I actually entered the workforce myself. I think I only really thought of the medical field, maybe like law, certain really traditional career paths as like,
Really linear career paths where it's like you
right.
get the education and that's the job. And I want to demystify the linear career path because it's very competitive and often, it's so specific that it doesn't really leave you a lot of room to be creative and try different careers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that really drew me to business and all of the business resources that I was finding when I was trying to look for a way to exit nursing is that I heard so many people talking about how nonlinear their paths were and how they didn't have any experience in the field in which they worked, and just kind of it was so chaotic, and like accepting of that chaos. It was very much just like um come as you are, work really hard, and figure out a way to succeed. And I was like, that's what I want right now. I don't want any more degrees. I don't want any more formal education. I want to just go figure out what I'm good at. And I loved that about business when I was first transitioning into it.
Yeah. Well, so how is what you're doing now? How does it align with your passions, your interests, your strengths, your values?
Yeah. So with my social media marketing agency Matches, um, I am building a system that I'm building a system that can function without me being hands-on with every single task, and that's really exciting to me. I'm a
Yeah,
nerd
something
about.
bigger than you. You're dreaming
Yeah,
up something beyond just yourself.
exactly, which is really, really exciting. And I'm such a nerd about business and systems and everything that it's so fun for me to bring other people into this project and see what everyone can do as a team as opposed to what I can do by myself. So transitioning from that solopreneur to entrepreneur role is really exciting for me. Um, and just I love marketing. I love finding out what influences people to make a purchase, and I get to apply that to my love for business. And yeah, I don't know, it's just so much fun for me. And then being a creator is also a ton of fun for me. I just love that in business you can do whatever you want. Um, and work really hard and figure out your own way to succeed as opposed to doing whatever is laid out in front of you. I hated doing the same thing every day. And I think I always took that when I was younger. I've always been extremely curious to the point where my parents and my whole extended family has always made fun of like how many questions that I ask. My mom would be like, "You would ask, why is the sky blue? Like why? Like just everything." And I always took that to mean that I loved traditional education and learning, where I think it's more that I'm just a really, really curious person. My best friend always makes fun of the fact that I can't, if I don't know something, I look it up. I never ever just accept not knowing something. And it's not like an effort, it's not a conscious effort for me. I just love learning stuff. So yeah, I think that's also something that I really love about business is that it really lends itself to constant learning.
Well, and I think, what I love about your approach to learning too is you learn it and then you share it, which only further, imprints what you've learned for you. And then you're helping others learn as you go. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
Okay. So what object did you bring that reflects your passion?
Okay, so my book, You Are a Badass.
Okay. She's got You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Great book.
Yeah, so the reason that I brought that is I love the book, but it's really important to me because it's the last book that I read before I decided to go for it and start a business. So it's kind of symbolic for me. And then also it's
I
just
hope Jen
symbolic.
Sincero is listening. I hope she knows that that is what her book is doing. Wow. Talk about a testament to what she's written right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jensen Charo, she's so cool. Would love to meet her someday. Hope she's listening. I adore this book. I think it's so empowering and it really dives into how important it is to just believe in yourself, go for things, and really emphasizes the fact that like believing things are a possibility for you is more than half the battle. Um, so I love that about it. And then I also just wanted to bring a book because, just like we were just talking about, I'm obsessed with learning. I'm super curious and I am a self improvement and business resources freak. I am always listening to audiobooks and podcasts and reading things and watching things. And I just absolutely love learning.
I feel like every conversation we've ever had, like you're always referencing something new that you've read or listened to. And that's inspiring. I think that, most of us, could take a chapter from your book and start getting a little more curious. I want to encourage everyone that's listening today to think about something that makes you a little bit curious, something you want to learn more about, and go and find a resource that you could start looking to, right? Is it a book? Is it a podcast? What could you be reading more up on that aligns with your curiosities? All right.
Yeah.
Before we go, what advice do you have for young professionals?
Um, my advice would be to know that your career is never defined. You're never done defining your career or defining yourself. I think I thought when I was younger that I would get to this place where like everything was just laid out and that's what I would be doing. And I don't think you ever have to accept that. If you don't love what you're doing, I think that you can find a way to love what you're doing or find something that you love. And just know that anything, it sounds so cheesy, but anything is possible. Like anything is achievable if you are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve it. I think that really the biggest factor in success is knowing that whatever it is that you're looking at is possible for you. You just have to figure out how.
Yeah, and take action. So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for joining me, Jules. I love your parting advice, and I am so excited for your career journey. You're right. It's never done. It is a journey. And once you realize that, that's when the fun starts.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening to our show. Be sure to check out the show notes and email any questions to yourpassioncareer@gmail.com. Bye.